Well, hello there, everyone. It's day two of Kenna and Deborah's show on body positivity,
Art.
self-love, art,
Still trying to
and
figure out a name.
generational healing. Yeah, I guess we don't have really a name for our show right now,
But
but
I
I'd
do
like
like
to
the idea.
introduce Kenna Lindsay. Hold on, I keep doing this. I guess you're over here.
Yeah.
Kenna Lindsay over there, who's the CEO and artist of KennaShop.
Yes, and this is my mother. Ugh. This is my
That's
mother,
right.
Deborah, who is
Mhm.
a sustainability or sustainable business coach
Yep.
and expert.
An
And
expert.
our video kind of it's it's a visual podcast.
Exactly. And we're doing this every week, and we're glad that you're able to join us today. And Kenna, we actually had a very successful first week last week,
Good.
and somebody approached me with a question.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about eating disorders today, but we thought we would go and take up this question. And it was really about how do you feel confident in a bathing suit,
Yeah.
particularly when you're a plus size person?
Yeah.
And I was going to say woman, but I know that, there's a lot of people who feel awkward being in a bathing suit,
Yeah,
regardless.
body struggles span gender and age and everything, in our society. It's so prevalent. Yeah, it's such an interesting question. And I'm really happy that we're actually doing this today because I was checking my Facebook this morning and it had that like 7 years ago on this day. And little like 19-year-old Kenna was going on like a 5-minute rant about why I was going to wear a bikini and no one could tell me what to do and all that kind of stuff. So I thought it was kind of apropos. So yeah, so
Nice.
I decided to kind of start this conversation.
So, like, what do you do when you are wearing a bathing suit? Like, do you just go, "Pfft, I'm wearing a bathing suit, like, whatever? Like, or do you have to spend time sort of thinking it through ahead of time and talking to yourself, while before, during, and after wearing a bathing suit in public?
Yeah. I think where I am now, not so much. I think now it's more like how much titty am I going to show? Is it inappropriate for me to be this naked? But I know definitely at the beginning and for most of my life, it was, you know, what can I wear that's going to cover up my body completely? Like how can I stick to the shallow parts of the pool? How can I kind of stay to the back so nobody's really seeing me, you know, um, and kind of, yeah, really struggling with feeling comfortable doing something as simple as going swimming, you
Totally.
know?
And
Yeah.
I was sharing with you just before we got on that I had this come up because
Mhm.
4th of July, I was going to a pool party,
Yeah.
and I went through all the mental things, and it was just in the end it was like, screw it, I'm just going to go swimming. Like, I just want to swim. But it took me a lot of mental hula hoops. And what I noticed was that the other women, I mean, all the men were swimming, most of the men were swimming,
Mhm.
and the other women who were of more, like traditional bathing suit, the size that
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
see in media, right? They were swimming, although they were, some of them were very fancy, with their hair up and everything.
The hair and the, yeah.
And the other women who were more my size were not swimming. They had their feet
Yeah.
in the pool, and that was it. And I showed up in my Macy's bathing suit with my board shorts, looking like a
Ready to swim.
swamp man cometh. And I'm just like, well, screw it, I'm gonna swim. And because it was hot and it was 4th of July and it was a beautiful pool and it was a great party, and I thought I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a hump mentally that I have to go through before that.
Yeah.
And I'll share one more thing with you. Sorry to hog this, but when I went to Mexico a few years ago with some friends, again, sort of more in that tradition, like traditionally advertised
Surprise people. Yeah.
size of people, I just said, I just need your love. Like like I just need you to love me. I just need that from you because we're going on this trip and um I just can't handle thinking that you might be criticizing or judging me.
Yeah.
And they were very responsive to that.
Yeah.
They may have been judging, and I don't know, but they just exuded love at me when I was out in the pool or out in the water,
Right.
and so that's how I started the conversation.
Well, and I think that that is like one of the main things, right? Is who you're surrounding yourself with. If you're surrounding yourself with people who you feel safe with, who you feel comfortable with, you will be more comfortable in those social situations. And then it will start to work even when they're not there, because
Mhm.
you know that like nothing necessarily bad is going to happen. Like, future tripping and the anxiety isn't necessarily going to happen. And so having
Can
people,
you can you describe future tripping a little bit more?
yeah, future tripping. Well, I guess that's not really as much applicable here, but it's being afraid of what's going to happen in the future. Like tripping out or freaking out about the possibilities of the future, and like not really living in the moment because you're afraid of what's going to happen next.
Right.
Um, so yeah,
So
I think,
somebody who's expecting a trip and they're thinking, "Oh God, I'm going to be wearing a bathing suit, and it's going to be really." That's
and
kind of
somebody's
future
going to come up
tripping.
and say something, and somebody's going to, because I mean, it's difficult because as a plus size person, as a fat person, I have had people come up to me.
Mm,
It was when I was younger, usually, because, people are more likely to come up to a child, right, who is less able to stand up for themselves.
mhm.
So there's that kind of like, oh, nobody's going to fuck with me. And also somebody might. So you have to kind of play that, which is, I think, a really, really hard part. Um, but I think to kind of like focus down to what I do and what I did in order to make it so that I was comfortable and am comfortable in a bathing suit, in a bikini. Um, One, I got fucking angry.
Mm.
Like, I don't know if you remember that time when I was like 19 and like losing my shit and it was super hot and I was just constantly in crop tops and all this kind of stuff because I was just mad. I was so tired of just being super hot all summer and I just wanted to go outside. I wanted to tan my belly and people would look at me and people would like, the fucking Santa Cruz, Whole Foods moms were like, not happy with this like little fat kid in a bikini. And so part of that was a rage for myself that I think is healthy. And that I think a lot of people who have taken a lot of shit for a long time um, need to have. That's my personal opinion.
Right.
An anger for yourself because you know that you deserve better and that this is not a reality that you can accept.
Right.
So that's something that I think initially happened. And so my I don't know if this is gonna work for everyone, but my initial like wearing bathing suits and bikinis, something like that, was kind of just to spite people. I was fully in a fuck you mode. I was like, this makes me happy. I think I look cute, like all that kind of stuff. And so there was that, and then there was also, and I still do this, and this is a kind of a protective method. So it's not totally, on the up and up, but um making myself look really, really fucking good.
Mhm.
Like I am going to have a big fancy hat. I'm going to have big glasses. I'm going to have a big sun thing, like a big like shade thing.
Mhm.
And that way, if people are looking at me, yeah, damn right they're looking at me because I look fucking amazing. Like, do you see this entire outfit put together? So I think that's how I've done it,
Mhm.
but I know that that doesn't quite translate to your own experience. And
No,
so,
no, and that's fine. It doesn't necessarily, we don't have to compare experiences.
right,
The question was really, what do you do?
right,
Because this person was like, when I saw Kenna at my birthday party and you were wearing a black dress with a little halter top
Oh,
with
my
no
titties were
bra.
out. Yeah.
And they were just like, "Ba-bam, we're here." And they just were like, holy cow. And I think that your generation is a little bit more comfortable with showing your breasts, showing your nipples. I mean, it was, I mean, God forbid that women had nipples when I was growing up. Holy cow. Like it's
Right.
still really hard for me to go without a
No,
bra.
if there's a
And
nip slip, you're welcome. Sorry. Like,
yeah, yeah. Now this generation's like, yeah, I got nipples and they're pierced and you know, and so I really appreciate that, and she did too. And I think that's more of a generational thing. Listen,
yeah.
I want to start winding it down, but
Yeah.
I'm really thankful for your candidness, and I'm wondering, Kenna, another question that came up was whether or not you counsel people as well as doing art for them.
Yeah. It's it's an interesting question that I actually have been asked before. Because I think that my approach to my body and my fatness and all of that is very different than a lot of women's approach and a lot of the way that the society has asked us to be. And so I have been asked that before. I don't really. However, I know that, when people commission work from me and we do a consultation, we have to do an hour consultation before where we talk about the piece and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the times it's women sharing stories with me, sharing their experiences with their bodies and sharing, why they need this. And me receiving that, listening to their stories, and really validating that. So not so much counseling, but I think sitting in solidarity with other plus size women and other women who are also straight sized or very thin, sitting in solidarity with women who are struggling with their bodies is more along the lines of what I do.
Mhm.
But I'm not open to counseling. I'm just,
All right. Well, I would suggest if people do want to have a moment with you that they reach out to you at kenna.shop.insta below. If they want to reach out to me and get a green business, green life, all that kind of stuff, just reach out down here. Our information is on the stream. And I have one last question for you, Kenna, and that is, where are you going with KennaShop? Like, what is the big vision here? I mean,
yeah.
I of course as a business person have like a whole, empire ahead.
You have a
You
whole
know,
idea for what I'm doing next.
yeah, Kenna Inc. with a media department and an art department and an affiliate program,
A podcast and a clothing line.
Yes,
Um,
wallpaper.
I mean, honestly, and like I'll be completely honest and kind of put aside the business person aspect right now. I have no idea. Like I, for the first time in my life, am doing something that, in bringing me money, brings me so much joy that it's hard for me to think of anything beyond creating with people right now. I think ultimately I'd like to have a little shop and maybe do classes and maybe have seminars and that kind of thing also with my art. But that's all in the future, and we'll
Okay,
see.
well, I encourage you as your mom and as your business partner
Yeah.
to start thinking about that. And I'd also like to hear from the people who are watching this to just hear what
Yeah.
you would like to see Kenna, expand into, because I think that there's a lot of, possibilities. So
Or what you'd like to see us talk about next, or if you want us to
totally.
go more into a topic or anything like that, we love to hear.
And
Um,
we want to hear your bathing suit stories,
yeah,
because the more we share about what we're doing about those things,
yeah,
the better.
yeah.
Okay.
Damn straight.
All right. Well, love your bodies, everybody.
All right, bye
Thank you,
guys.
Kenna.
Bye, mom.